Almost 4 years after Elon Musk first teased the Model Y in a tweet, which he immediately deleted, we are just a few hours away from the big unveil at Tesla's design studio in Los Angeles. This all happening at a time when shares are struggling, down more than 12% this year on the back of unsatisfactory delivery numbers and a seemingly endless executive exodus that continues to plague the company. A new CFO was appointed just today. In addition, Elon Musk is involved in a seemingly never-ending battle with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So will the Model Y be the boost that Tesla needs? Fast Money friend and Loup Ventures founder Gene Munster is in LA to give us a lowdown of what to expect. Gene, always good to see you. At some other point in time, an unveil of an SUV would have been huge for Tesla. But at a time when there are questions about whether or not this company can fully ramp Model Y, at a time when the company still hasn't gone into production for a semi-truck, which it accept deposits for, I don't know. Is this going to move the needle or just going to cause more concern about the story?
Melissa, it's unlikely that tonight is going to move the needle. I think it's pretty well framed in here. The Model Y, what it looks like, the probably $40,000-ish price point. So you're exactly right. This has become a show-me story. Now, I'd say that the intensity level around that has only picked up in the last month. I think that this really almost like vortex of believers that think that this story is going to end in the next 6 to 12 months has picked up some steam. I disagree with that. I think that the Model Y is in fact important to the story and should be noteworthy tonight for this simple reason. It doubles their addressable market, and albeit it will take them probably 2 years to really ramp production to get there. But doubling addressable market in what is, in fact, an undeniable tech trend in electric vehicles, I think is important. And one last piece that will likely get glossed over tonight. But as you dig through the specs of this vehicle, and they have been late on getting vehicles out, but have accurately predicted their specs. I think what you will see is Tesla's advantage that they have against other car manufacturers in terms of efficiencies of range, for example, and the price points. So there is some real substance here. I believe it will get glossed over. I think most investors are hyper-focused on what their deliveries are going to be for the March quarter they'll come out with in the first week in April, coming up here in a few weeks.
Now, you mentioned that it doubles the total addressable market, but there are a lot of competitors specifically within this space, and Tesla's not going to produce this car for another year or so. In the meantime, BMW will come out with its X3 compact SUV in 2020 as well, so the same time frame as Tesla. Mercedes will have its all-electric EQC later this year. I mean, at this point in time, is the competition more of a threat to the story than maybe it was 2 years ago?
Competition is not Tesla's biggest problem. Tesla's biggest problem is
itself?
Is itself, exactly. Elon is their greatest asset, but also the biggest risk. But just to put the competition quickly into perspective, Melissa, is that these other car manufacturers aren't even close when it comes to price. And separately, I mean, we're talking about orders of magnitude 30, 40, 50% more expensive. And second is that they're essentially vaporware right now. Tesla actually had 80% market share in electric vehicles. And so there is something to be said about the substance. And I think if you talk to Tesla owners, I'm not a Tesla owner, but yesterday a Tesla owner told me that he feels lucky that he's able to even access this kind of technology. I think it's hard for non-Tesla people to understand what this car actually is. And so the other car companies don't have that. One other thing that I think is important to point out, I want to make sure that we capture here, is that there's a story out there that Tesla is announcing Model Y to generate pre-orders and take in those pre-order deposits to basically fund some sort of cash problem. We think that they'll probably generate around $350 million this month in pre-order. But that is probably going to be offset by, inevitably, there are going to be some other Tesla potential buyers that are going to hold off. And if 5% of Tesla owners simply hold off, then it's a net wash. So this idea that Tesla is doing this Model Y event in desperation to generate cash is likely not the case when you factor in they're going to also have, this will also have a negative impact on Model 3 sales.
Are you saying 5% of Tesla holders will hold off because they were intending to buy another vehicle? And so therefore, I mean, then you're talking about the issue of cannibalization amongst its fleet.
Right, yeah. I think this is coming from, this announcement is coming from a whole other problem. But I think that it is coming from, just to be clear, from a point of strength. I think that the reason why they're doing this is they feel good about Model 3 demand. And I think that even with this cannibalization factor, I think that they'll be hit those numbers that Elon talked about, kind of this 300,000 to 500,000 number for Model 3 for 2019. But the reason why I mentioned that 5% number, just to give viewers some sensitivity, that just if you take 6% away from that, that offsets this cash benefit. And so I just wanted to illuminate that that conversation about why they're doing this.
Okay. Gene, always great to see you. Thank you. Gene Munster of Loup Ventures in Los Angeles ahead of the event. I have a question for you. More bullish or less bullish with the unveil of the Model Y? In that, does Tesla need another vehicle to try and push out production-wise at this point in time?
They're never going to build it.
Do you think they're never going to build it? Okay, you have been a Tesla bear for a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is a distraction. I think there's a lot of bad things going on at the company. This Model Y unveil is another thing to talk about. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
All right. Guy who's been bullish and bearish at various points in time.
Wrong, right. So,
more wrong, right than wrong, honestly.
Maybe, but there's a good show on in the morning. I believe it's from 6 to 9. It's called The Squawk Box.
Squawk Box.
Are you familiar with that?
Of course
The Squawk
I am.
Box. And Ron Barron was on this morning.
Yes, it was a great
waxing
show.
poetic.
Well, he's been a long-time investor. His cost basis is very low.
His cost base where it closed today. With that said, he paints a very compelling argument to the upside. So, listen, a couple weeks ago, before I went on my hiatus to Bermuda, which is beautiful, by the way, I encourage all you folks to go there. Thank you very much.
It's cold this time of year, no?
A little windy, actually.
Okay, but, anyway.
Sorry.
I thought at 305, remember the headlines came out. I thought, you know what, the stock should be bought here. It's going back to that 350 level, clearly wrong. But, you know, again, 275 like a rocket holds and bounces. So people say play with options. He's been correct. I think he stayed long here against 275.